Okay, so picture something for a second. You're walking down a street in your city, maybe a street you take every single day.
Right.
And there's this building on the corner that has scaffolding up. You know the kind I mean.
Oh, I know exactly the kind. Metal poles, wooden planks, maybe some of that, like, green mesh netting.
Yeah, that's it. It's ugly. It blocks the sidewalk. You have to kind of duck your head to get under it.
And it always smells like wet concrete and dust.
Right. And the first time you see it, you think, oh, they're fixing something. Annoying. But, you know, it's temporary. It's for safety.
There's probably a permit taped to a pole with a date on it.
Exactly. But then a month goes by, then 6 months, then a year. The permit, it just peels off. The work seems to have stopped, but the scaffolding, it stayed.
And you stop complaining about it.
You just walk under it. It becomes part of the architecture.
It stops being construction, and it just becomes the tunnel you walk through on Tuesday.
Yeah, that is it. Exactly. And that feeling, that shift from this is a temporary problem to this is just how it is now, that's the perfect way into what we're digging into today.
Yeah.
We're looking at a stack of research called Normalized and a specific section on emergency powers as a way of life.
It's a heavy title for sure, but the idea is so sticky. We're talking about the deadline. Every emergency, it starts with this promise, right?
That it's temporary.
That it's temporary, that normal life is just around the corner. But these sources we're looking at, they ask this really uncomfortable question. What happens when that deadline just keeps moving?
What happens when the scaffolding never comes down? And just to be super clear here, we aren't talking about any one specific event in the news or, you know, a particular politician.
No, this is not a left versus right thing.
Right.
And that's what makes this research so compelling. It's about the machinery of the state. It's about, you know, human psychology or just how bureaucracies work.
So it's about the mechanism.
It's an analysis of how emergency powers stop being this tool we use to fix a crisis and start becoming the default setting for how we govern.
Okay, so let's go back to that first moment. The scaffolding goes up, the declaration. The sources say this is almost like a seductive moment for a leader.
Yeah, which sounds weird.
It does sound weird. I mean, emergencies are nightmares. Why would anyone want to declare one?
Well, just think about the alternative for a minute.
Yeah.
In a normal functioning democracy, getting anything done it's hard.
It's slow.
It's incredibly slow. You've got committees, debates, budget approvals, you have opposition. I mean, it is designed to be slow. We call that checks and balances.
But if you're the one in charge, it just feels like sludge. It feels like paralysis.
Precisely. If a house is on fire, you are not going to call a committee meeting to discuss the water budget.
No, you kick the door down.
You kick the door down.
Yep.
And the declaration of an emergency is like this sword that just cuts through all of that red tape. The research calls it a moment of clarity. It simplifies the world. Suddenly, there are no shades of gray. There's only the crisis. And for a leader, that is incredibly empowering. It sends a signal to the public.
The signal being, I am doing something. I'm in charge.
Yes.
The do something bias. I totally get that. If everything is chaos, just sitting still feels like you're failing.
Even if running around screaming doesn't actually help, it feels like helping. And the public? We reward it. That's the key.
We rally around the flag.
We do. We trade our skepticism for a feeling of security. But the source makes a really important point here. It's about the trade-off. When we accept that declaration, we are accepting a transaction.
And the transaction is, I'll let you break the normal rules, I'll let you track my phone, or shut down my business, or tell me where I can go.
Because you promised to fix the problem.
Great.
And the most critical clause in that whole contract is just 3 little words. Only for now.
Only for now.
That is the sweetener. That's the only reason any of us would ever agree to it. I mean, if a leader came out and said, hey, everyone, we're going to permanently suspend your right to privacies, starting right now.
People would lose their minds. There'd be riots.
Of course. But if they say, we need to do this just for 2 weeks to stop this threat.
Then we say, okay, I can handle 2 weeks. That makes sense.
We see it as a loan. We're lending our liberty to the state, and we expect to get it back.
With interest. And the interest is safety.
Once the storm passes. But here's where the plot really thickens. And this is the part of the research that honestly made me look at my own life a little differently.
Yeah.
That mission accomplished moment, it almost never happens like it does in the movies.
Right. In the movies, the bomb is defused with 1 second left and the credits roll.
Yeah, the alien mothership blows up, the virus is cured, done. But real life is messy. Crises don't usually end with a bang. They fade out, they linger.
And that creates what the authors call the not yet phenomenon.
Not yet. It's the cycle of extension. Imagine you're that leader. You've had these amazing powers for 6 months. The crisis is better. It's definitely better. But is it gone?
Well, no, probably not. If it's a virus, there are still some cases. If it's terrorism, there's always another threat.
Exactly. So you have a review meeting, and your advisors say, look, things are improving because of what we're doing. If we lift these measures now, we could slide right back. We're not safe yet.
So the goalposts just moved. The first goal was avoid total catastrophe.
And now the goal is guarantee total safety.
Which are two very, very different things. One is achievable, the other is impossible.
It's impossible. But here's the trick. The extension of these powers is almost always quiet.
Oh, that's so true.
The original declaration, that was a huge press conference, breaking news banners, maybe sirens. The extension, that's a PDF attached to an email that goes out at 4:55 p.m. on a Friday.
I feel like I've seen that exact thing happen. The first time a restriction comes in, it's all anyone talks about. The 5th time it's renewed, it's not even a story. It's just paperwork.
It's the momentum of the status quo. See, once a rule is in place, the burden of proof flips.
How so?
Originally, the government had to prove why they needed the power. Now, the citizen has to prove why the government should give it up.
And that is a much harder argument to win.
Especially when they can just point to some lingering threat and say, hey, better safe than sorry.
Okay, I want to pause on that better safe than sorry idea, because that takes us right into the institutional trap, which I think is the most mind-blowing part of this whole deep dive.
It's fascinating.
Because I'll be honest, when I hear emergency powers never ending, my brain jumps to conspiracy theories. You know, a power-hungry leader rubbing their hands together.
A great movie villain.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not usually how the world works.
Right, and the source argues it's not really malice, it's risk. It's just a cold calculation.
Okay, let's play this out. Let's put you in the situation room. You're the leader.
Okay.
You've got a big red button on your desk. It says, end emergency.
I'm looking at the button. It's very shiny.
If you push that button, everything goes back to normal. Rights restored, checks and balances are back online, everyone's happy. But if you push it and the threat comes back, say there's another attack or another wave of sickness, what happens to you?
Oh, I'm toast. My career is over. The headlines will say, leader acted too soon, ignored the warnings, blood on their hands.
Yep. The blame is very visible, and it's all on you. You're the one who let their guard down. Now, scenario 2. You don't push the button.
Okay.
You keep the emerging powers for another 6 months. Even if they're not really necessary, what happens to you then?
Probably nothing. Maybe some activist groups write an angry article about it.
Exactly. You might get called overcautious, a bureaucrat. But nobody gets impeached for being too careful. Nobody loses an election because they tried too hard to keep people safe.
Wow. Okay, so the incentives are just completely lopsided.
It's a huge asymmetry of risk.
Yeah.
The political cost of ending the emergency too early is catastrophic. The cost of keeping it too long is basically zero.
So if you're just a rational person trying to keep your job,
What do?
you leave the scaffolding up. You leave it up forever. Because taking it down is risky and leaving it up is safe. For you.
Caution becomes policy, and policy becomes permanent. That's the trap.
That's the trap.
It's not some evil plot, it's a systemic design flaw. The system is wired to ratchet control up, but it has no real mechanism to ratchet it back down.
That is. Man, that's depressing. But it makes so much sense. Okay, but I want to shift to the other side of this. We've talked about the leaders. What about us, the people living under the scaffolding?
The normalized part of the report.
Yeah, because you would think if your freedoms are being limited for years on end, people would just be furious all the time. But the research says we aren't.
No, we really aren't. And that's because human beings are adaptation machines. We're just incredibly good at getting used to things. The source calls this habituation.
The old frog in the boiling water idea.
It is, but it's even more subtle. It's about how we rewrite our daily scripts. I mean, think about airport security.
Oh, don't even get me started.
No, seriously, think back. Before 9/11, you could walk your family right to the gate. You kept your shoes on. You could bring a bottle of water on the plane.
Right.
When those new rules first came in, taking off your belt, the liquids ban, the scanners, it felt insane. It felt invasive.
It felt weird, and now I honestly don't even think about it. I have a system. I wear slip-on shoes to the airport. I have my laptop out before I even get to the belt.
Yes.
And I get annoyed at the person in front of me who doesn't know the drill.
You're not questioning the rule anymore. You're just trying to optimize your compliance with it.
Yeah.
You've adapted. The source has this haunting line for this.
What's that?
Permissions turn into habits.
Permissions turn into habits. Oof.
The things we used to ask permission for, can I search your bag? They just become the habits of our lives. We plan our commute around the checkpoint. We assume the camera is watching.
We stopped seeing the cage because we've hung pictures on the bars.
That's the image. That's it.
Yeah.
We make the unnormal feel normal just so we can function. Because you can't live in a state of constant anger. It's exhausting. It is. And that exhaustion, that fatigue, it's part of the process. The source argues that over time, the emergency itself just loses its emotional power. It stops being a crisis and becomes background noise.
It's like a car alarm that's been blaring for 3 hours. The first 10 minutes, you're looking out the window, what's going on? 3 hours later, you're just turning up the TV.
And that's the fade. The line between emergency and normal just dissolves. And you see it in the language leaders use. They stop talking about ending the crisis.
And they start using those phrases of like permanent maintenance.
Yeah,
We
right.
must remain vigilant.
The threat persists.
We cannot lower our guard.
All of which sound like very responsible, very adult things to say.
They do. If a leader says that, I nod my head. I think, yeah, vigilance is good.
But in this context, vigilance is really just another word for permanence. It's a way of saying the rules of the crisis are now the rules of life, forever.
It's just formalizing the scaffolding. We've stopped even pretending to build the building. We just live in the construction site now.
And that's what leads to that paradox the source mentioned. When everything is treated as an emergency, nothing feels like one.
The urgency is gone.
It just evaporates. All that's left is the rules, the bureaucracy. And that's the really dangerous moment. Because when the urgency's gone, we should be demanding our rights back. But since we've adapted,
I just don't bother.
we don't bother.
So you've got leaders who are trapped by the risk of blame, and you've got the public trapped by the comfort of routine. It feels like a deadlock.
It is a lock. And the source material ends with this really provocative idea about where this all leads. It's sort of the final stage.
Okay.
It asks, what happens when the generation that remembers before is gone? Or what happens when we just forget what before even felt like?
We stop seeing the rules as a loss and start seeing them as what?
As a necessity, as the very thing that keeps us safe. The teaser they leave us with is that eventually people stop just tolerating the emergency powers. And they start.
They start defending them.
Wait, defending them? You mean like if the government tried to take a checkpoint away, people would actually complain?
Exactly. I mean, imagine the airport announced tomorrow, hey, no more security, just walk right on the plane, no scanners, no ID checks.
I'd be terrified. I don't think I would get on that plane.
See, you would defend the restriction. You have so internalized the idea that the intrusion is the only thing keeping you safe.
The emergency measure has become my security blanket.
It has.
Wow. Okay, you got me. I am defending the cage.
It's not just you, it's the natural endpoint of this whole process. When the emergency becomes the way of life, we lose our ability to even imagine safety without the control. We start to assume that freedom just equals danger.
And that's the ultimate success of the permanent emergency. It doesn't just change the laws.
It changes the culture. It changes how we think. It rewrites the dictionary. Normal gets a new definition.
And once that happens, the deadline isn't just missed.
It ceases to exist. There's no finish line anymore. There's just the track. Man, this has been a lot to process. It's one of those things where once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. You start looking at every temporary measure and just wondering...
Is that ever actually going away?
Yeah.
And that's the healthy question to be asking. The point of this deep dive isn't to say all emergencies are fake or all leaders are tyrants. It's just to say, watch the deadline.
Watch the deadline and pay attention to the silence. Pay attention when the emergency stops being a breaking news story and just starts being a memo.
And ask yourself, am I just getting used to this scaffolding? Or do I still remember what the building is supposed to look like?
That is the question to leave you with today. Thank you so much for breaking this down. It is scary, but fascinating.
My pleasure. Stay vigilant, but, the right kind of vigilant.
Exactly. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. We'll see you next time.